you, all of you, for coming. First of all, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Kulin Nation. We're actually on the border here. We've got the Bunurong on this side, close to the water, and the Wurundjeri tribe are on the, are their neighbours. And we acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of the land that we're gathering on today. And we pay our respects to the elders past and present, and also to the future elders, the ones that are going to keep educating us and helping us understand how to look after this really magnificent country that we live on. Now, we know why we're all here. Judith Buckrich decided, because actually I think every time I say Judith, it should be a big round of applause. Judith Buckrich! We've workshopped this, she'll be doing a full-on dance. Judith. Great, on the ball, we like that. So Judith decided to document 36 years plus of an institution that was Monash Teachers College, that became Rusden State College. Bless you, Judith. Now, Judith wanted this to be quick, you know, get the formalities out of the way so we can all go back and socialise. I usually do say put those things on silent. That's okay. Is it for me? my agent? Get the formalities out of the way, but Donna Gabriel, where is she, gorgeous girl, she goes, nah, Carmel, because that's what I was called at college, Carmel, just have fun. They were our wild years. I like time travelling. I actually feel 20 years old. So I thought, because we were gathered here, that we'd start with a roll call. Because, you know, there are a lot of important, Judith's the most important, but the really important people are all the people who made this book possible and campaigned for them, you know, donated. And so we start the roll with, no, I'm just joking, we're not going to do that. People who did support the Possible campaign, we've got our books, but please don't go home without one today. Now, most of us have extraordinary memories of Rusden. Well, depending on the drugs that you took. Yeah, like with me, yeah, it's sort of the drugs, the sex, the parties, the rock and roll. I can see people nodding. Yeah, it's all part of it. That's right. But look, at this point in time, I'd like to quote Robin Williams, who said, you know, when you're young, people say, don't take drugs, you know, because they'll kill you. And when you're old, people say, you have to take the drugs or you're going to die. So, you know, the memories, let me think. Not being Italian, the music helps me sometimes. So go, memories are like the corners of my mind. Sì, tutto bene. Now, so I have this memory as a 70s woman attending Rusden, surrounded by staunch feminists. I cannot believe that we got away with touring to the Mallee region with a performance troupe called the Mallee Rooters Roadshow. And to make it worse, all these feminists that I was surrounded with, like the boys for the band, any boys from the Mallee Rooters? Oh, okay, typical, okay. So the Mallee Steve Kearney, Martha Gare. So the boys were all playing the instruments, and we, Donna, yeah, hands up who was in the girl in backing group. We were called the Rootettes. But, you know, this is because back then we were irreverent. If someone set a rule, we broke it. We made up our own rules. We were creative, explosive, brave, experimental, political. But there are three people who are coming to speak after me who will go into that in much more depth. So I'm just going to leave it there for now. Look, it's a beautiful book. I don't mean I'm finished, I'll just leave that there. Judith wanted it quick, but Donna said have fun. So blame her. So it's a very, very beautiful book. And I've been watching people coming in and, you know, grab this book and have a look. And I couldn't help noticing that the media students are going to the photography and checking if the lighting's good. And the graphics, you know, the posters, and oh, is that good? And then we've got the dance students, and they're looking at photos of themselves going, wow, was that really my body? Could my body actually do that? Then we've got the teachers, people, well, the creative, beautiful people who are helping our kids and students, you know, learning creative ways, and they're checking the grammar and typos. There aren't any. No grammar, no typos. Come in. Judith, let's try it. Judith. Now, and the drama students are, of course, looking for the photos. Where am I? Oh, there I am, there's me. There's me. Yeah, and of course, those really up ourselves drama students who became actors and writers and directors. We're going straight to the index. And then, how many page references did I get? Did I get more than Angela Chaplin? Simon Delamaris? How many did he get? Hello, Simon. He's here today. Up the back. No, look, seriously, I am going to get serious, and I'm going to end on a quote that I found most appropriate to this occasion. This is from a play that we did in fourth year, adapted from Doris Lessing's Memoirs of a Survivor. It's directed by Alison Richards. We all remember that time. It was no different for me than for others. Yet we do tell each other over and over again the particularities of the events we shared, and the repetition and listening, as if we were saying, it was like that for you too. Then that confirms it. Yes, it was so. It must have been. I wasn't imagining things. Judith, you have done this for us. You've made it real. And now, to talk about Judith, please put your hands together for Charles Swickie.
First, if I could say that I won't speak for very long, and those of you that know me know what a sacrifice that is. I'd like to say how fantastic it is to be in this room with all of you, knowing that we've all been on an incredible journey and helped to frame us. I don't think I'm just speaking for myself when I'm speaking up here. I think we've all had that wonderful experience that we call Rusden, either as teachers, either as students, as teachers or students, as people have gone back and given something later on. And I think it's been a fantastic journey, and I think it helped frame us where we are now. I think I've known Judy, and I never called her Judith. I've known Judy since probably longer than anyone in the room. We first met when she was 11 and I was 13 at a Jewish youth movement. And she was only there because she tagged along with her cousin, who was one of my good friends. And we had this little kid hanging around us all the time. It's so true. And she had an opinion about everything. And it was incredible because we decided then, as very wise 13-year-olds, that this 11-year-old was going to do great things in her life. Well, she's done great things for herself, which I'll tell you about in a second, but she's also done a great thing for us. And by creating this book and giving us an opportunity to relive a lot of those days and catch up with a lot of those people who were very, very important in all of our upbringing, in all of our development, and all of our journeys, she has really done something very major, I believe, for each of us individually and as a group. Dr. Judith Buckrich, and she doesn't go by the title very much, she's a PhD. She's also been the author of 13 major books on Melbourne. She's probably the foremost Melbourne historian, and has got all the publications. she just sells herself short. She is short, but she sells herself short. Judy has done some incredible things for. Come on in. I'll start again. She's done some incredible things in her life. Not the least being raising a wonderful daughter, and who's trying to sell me books today, so be nice to her. And I think that there's a lot more. I mean, I said to Judy, what are you going to do after this, after today? You know, celebrate, go to Bali or do something. And she said she can't. She's got 2 other books that she's working on at the moment, and that she has to just go from today into the next thing. So she's very prolific. We're all grateful, Jude, that you found time for us to do this wonderful thing. And I read the book when she gave it to me last week, and I didn't realise how many fantastic people went to our institution. We were all there, most of us, for 4 years. Peter was there for a lot longer. But we had our experiences and the things that helped frame us. And now, by reading that book, I can really see how we fit in those 4 years, fit into the context of the whole journey. And it was a journey. It was really a long journey. That it was an idea from a couple of people. You've got to read the book. But thank you very much, Judith, for the opportunity to say a few words. And I think the resonance of this book, this will just keep bouncing back for a long time. Thank you.
Rusden was one of those very special institutions of the 60s and the 70s. Tuesday night I was here for a pen event where we celebrated Liz Jones from Monash, and she talked about her nearly 40 years of being the director of Monash and what an extraordinary time we've all been through. And I could only think as she was talking that really Rusden began at the same time in the late 60s. Thank you to John Ellis, who is here somewhere, Max Robinson. I mean, you know, these fantastic heads of department that we had in the 70s who, I just can't tell you how energetic and creative and aggressive they were about winning money for us, about making sure that we could do just about any bloody thing that we wanted to, and providing us with the funds to do it. And it was an extraordinary and wonderful time. After the 70s, things sort of became more and more difficult, and then we had other heroes like Lonnie Pryor, who just kept the spirit, that incredible spirit of Rusden going. And there's too many people here to mention. All of you have just been extraordinary, from every decade, for very different reasons, making films, taking photos, becoming teachers, becoming actors, becoming creative administrators, travelling the world. There's people watching this on live stream because Andrew Seabrook is filming it as we're doing it. Really, it's just been, and I have been able to make contact with literally hundreds of other people through this project. Now, I must say, I don't recommend writing a book with several hundred other people. Ever do it again. And it's, you know, it's had its fabulous moments, it's had its moments when I wanted to murder somebody, but it's been an extraordinary process. And of course, you know, setting up that Facebook group, which many of you are in, which has now got, I think, 630 people in it, who, you know, variously have had incredible, lively conversations with each other about things that were long forgotten, and they've found photographs, and they've remembered conversations, and they've remembered gossip, and there's a lot of gossip, you know. And then so many of you did send your little testimonials to me, or you talked with me, and I have made an effort to edit those and put them into the book. I've done the best I could with those. They're very funny. I mean, Max Robinson and I had a long talk about how funny those are, because some of them talk about exactly the same event and totally contradict it. And Max was delighted, and I was very pleased that he was delighted that I had left everything there. And people could just work it out for themselves what really happened. So look, thank you so much. Publishing it was this is the first book that I've ever published myself. It's not the kind of book that we could ever have got a publisher for. I was hoping when Pratt Mechanics Institute Library Publishing was still working that Christine, who's here today and who encouraged me so much, might be able to do that. But as it worked out, it was the year that Brad wasn't publishing books. So I took everything into my own hands and I thought, I'm going to publish it myself, and I did the Possible campaign again, which so many of you were participants in, and then I found a beautiful printer who did a beautiful job of doing the book, and Rosie, who is the designer, who is also here somewhere. Rosie, are you here somewhere? There she is. She did a beautiful job of designing it. So I've had incredible help from so many individual people who just helped me with things that I had never done before. So all I had to do was go into that Facebook page and say, how do I do this? And someone would, come along and help. I just want to mention Stephen Looker, who's not here today, who was an incredible help to me, and who's in hospital, and I hope he gets to see this on YouTube. He has had the most terrible few weeks in hospital, so I really, hope that he comes out of it really well and is able to enjoy it. So look, that's all that I want to say. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for all your help, and I'm so pleased to be here today. Thanks.
Thank you, Judith, and if this is a one-off that you're never going to do again, we're really glad that you chose Rusden to do that with. We're in a pretty amazing location, and I know Judith did choose it because it's an amazing obstacle course. We will all be strapping on blindfolds after this and doing trust exercises up and down the nooks and crannies of the trust exercises, the back books. Jeff Hook, where is he? Where's Jeff? Your first drum class. They split us up, it was second year, and all the kids came out crying. And then we came and saw your plays, and they were brilliant. I mean, it was just so wonderful. Lots of those stories. They were all crying. We want to get lovey, lovely. Bless him. Anyway, my job now is to introduce three people who are going to speak about three different eras of Rusden. I think, do I call them up all together? Yep. Okay, so please put your hands together for Max Robinson, Yoni Cryer, and Meredith Blackwood. Meredith Blackburn, and also invite the people at the door. Come in, there is empty seats, just come in. It's fine, it's not sacred. Come up the front here, come this way and go around there. No worries.
Yeah, please go ahead.
The Masons in their temples have the windows right up high so that we can look out. I reckon this is much better. We can look out there instead of listening to what's being said. Judy, I remember as an aggressive little thing. Standing like this, hands on hips, outside the men's lavatory in the corridor of Building B, screaming. That's not true. The latest infringement on good society of either myself or somebody else in the It's a change. But she's brought back Rusden's golden years, and she's found a magic pudding. And she's managed to distill from that magic pudding 40,000 words of a complex history, but still leave more there than she started with. That's her genius, I think. But she's recognised that, And she's collected this huge mass of first-person anecdotes as well. And her 40,000-word history shines a light, provides a context for the other anecdotes. The anecdotes themselves shine a context on Judy's history. I think it's brilliant. That was genius. It's brave as well. Imagine writing a book and donating 2/3 of authorship to a ragtag mob like this lot here, and then not editing it. It's brave. Huh?
I did it.
Oh, sorry, there were some typos, that's right. There were the typos here. But as Judy said, she's left in the contradictions. She's left in the conflicting memories. She's left in unedited conflicts of values and the unwarranted hubris of some of the contributors and the unwarranted modesty of others. It's there, and it brings it to life, but the book itself's a problem. You can't put it down. Everything you read, everything I read, triggers memories. So I hunt through to something else. And that triggers memories. And a 5-minute dip into the book lasts half an hour or more. Because it's just like, you know how when you're a kid you read the encyclopedia or the dictionary, and you end up everywhere, you were there for hours just following from one link to... I think it's called Google these days. It's the same sort of thing. But you just find stuff, and you can't put the book down. Long forgotten names come back. And then the long forgotten name reminds me of others. I found it interesting today to see how somebody introduced themselves. I'd see somebody who looks vaguely familiar. They'd introduce themselves, and then that face would quietly morph into the face I remembered. Forgotten names. Names I've forgotten, but also those names I've forgotten, I'm reminded of other names I've forgotten or I remembered who aren't in the book. One I particularly regret isn't there is Iris Clark, because Iris, I think, of all the missing people, it's a great pity. Iris died far too young, with a lot of the work unfinished. Our dropouts are underrepresented as well. Went on, I said underrepresented, not underrepresented. But the amazing thing is some of them did. I've met some of them. I met a couple who were, I won't mention names here, because they were smuggling Mercedes-Benz cars somehow or other across borders of the EU to be sold as pre-owned cars when they weren't, or something, living in a squat in Lambeth with a power lead that ran about 100 yards off the road.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you. And Richmond porters smuggled guns to Indonesia.
Yeah, that's in the book. I'm trying not to repeat the book. Richmond porters said he smuggled guns. There might be a difference, you know. Richmond porter had told stories. But this went on. A lot of people didn't bother coming back to finish their course. They'd got what they got. It was what they needed. We hadn't yet met the age of credentialism. And I think, a couple of spring to mind, Rod Balaam, doing great things up in the territory, blackfellas. Glenda Beeston, well-established painter now. She was an opera singer for a while. Now she's a painter up in Broken Hill. But I think they did finish their degree somehow. But there are less happy memories too. Things that didn't get reported, the tragedies, the murders, the suicides, the drug victims. They were all there. The young woman escaping a violent husband. There were several of them actually. We hid them in the bio box. It's a great place to hide them until that rampaging husband was sued off. One of them was looking for John Ellis. I don't know why. He flattered if he knew why he was being hunted, quite unreasonably. One night I rang Vona Barnes, whose name is spelled about 6 different ways in the book. That's creative, Judy's creativity. And Vona came back very late at night, and she lived somewhere down on the Mornington Peninsula from memory, came back and she and I sat with this young woman until about 2 o'clock in the morning. She was in such a state. But those stories didn't get into the book, but they were part of life. There was the lecturer who managed to mix thieving, dealing, blackmail with teaching Shakespeare. But he got a mention in the book. The young woman Look, proudly brought out their new vintage Leica to show Anthony Green in class, and Anthony had to say that has the same serial number as the Leica that was stolen from me. Bit of a problem, but it was solved. In those days, see, this was the 70s. Working at Deakin wasn't a job. It was sort of a hobby. It was fun. And my Fred Maxia said to me that he couldn't remember another time when he actually was sang as he drove himself to work. Fred was actually an opera singer in his day, but he sang on his way to work. And my job was simple. All I had to do was get the best people, get them the resources they needed, and tell them to do whatever they wanted to do. And that was easy, because we had people like Terry Hoey, Colin Suggett, Peter Greenaway, who came to us from that rebellious tech school days, when tech schools reinvented education. And they were balanced, of course, by Graham Cuss, and he was balanced by Doug Stewart and Stu White, who talked a bit of sense. But we had probably the only pluralist intellectual course content, and we had the only course that in the country that balanced this in media, because I speak only for media here, I would presume to speak for art. We had a balance between theory and practice and different sorts of practice. It was great. And there was only one rule. Stephen knows the rule. Tom, remind me of the rule, Stephen.
Don't beg forgiveness.
Never ask permission. Do it. If necessary, we'll fix it up later. Because if you ask permission and you get the answer no, that doesn't work. Can you imagine today introducing night access managed by volunteer students with master keys to millions of dollars? We wouldn't have got permission even then. By the time administration found out it had been going for years. But we couldn't do it today. The world's gone mad. There are accountants out there and computers that keep records of things. We couldn't buy a rather expensive video camera and pretend we were hiring it. And then a few minutes later, Paul Richard walked into the studio and said, "For a visitor, and here we have a two-camera." Max, where did that third camera come from? It fell off the back of a truck. And when in Paul's farewell speech, he thanked me for teaching the expression, it fell off the back of a truck. He never asked the question about how we got it. He knew we'd got it, he didn't, preferred not to ask. That was night access. We couldn't have got it otherwise, and that was part of what it was all about. I always thought we got more than our share of the budget. Because, see, politics was important. We had to get the resources. Everybody was on our side, as Judith tells in the book. They needed us. We were the ones who attracted students. They needed us. But we needed them as well. But they gave us more than our share of the budget. Paul, we said to me, your job is to fight with me for more than your share of the budget. You didn't have to fight too hard, we got it. We helped people. That was our attitude. We were helpful. We didn't lock our stuff away to get rusty. We hoped it would wear out. But we went outside the college too. Green's got pretty active in the media education community. Saw the world change from Association of Teachers of Film Appreciation, which was mainly Dawn Brown, Curriculum Research Branch. One of the various David Murray, I think it was David C. Murray at Coburg Teachers College. Chef at the State Film Centre. Warren Thomas, yeah. But that's now Atom, one of the most significant media education organisations in the world. But Lisa was mixed up with that mob too. Lisa did some very interesting stuff with them too. We got out. I found myself on bloody committees. I was examiner for VCE, visual communication. I didn't know anything about it, but apparently I knew more than anybody else did, so they gave me a job as examiner. So I went out and I joined things like the Royal Anthropological Institute. I was a fellow of that. And everything from that to the Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers. Other people did the same sort of thing. I joined the college in professional associations. The name got out there and got known. Not amongst the people that Stephen was bemoaning the fact who didn't know us, but a different sort of people, the undercurrent of people. The Centre for Advanced Television Studies in London Jim probably knows them, Sue and Hoppy, a couple of crooks. He was a physicist who went wrong. She was his girlfriend. They knocked off telephone lines overnight from London across the Atlantic to make their phone calls, hook on the computers in New York to do terrible stuff. They were crooks. Hoppy died about 3 weeks ago. But we had them as friends. And and Jeremy Isaacs, who ran Covent Garden Opera House, he was on our side as well. It didn't matter what advice we needed, we could get it. It didn't matter what letter we needed written, we knew somebody would write it for us. Because they knew we'd write it for them. One Easter, I spent in a Greek cafe in New York with the fellow who was running the, I wish I knew his name, the alternate, American for alternative, media centre in New York. They were the people who were really pushing on low-tech production, which is something we moved into. I was helping them write an accreditation committee, and then I wrote a report on it for them. We did all manner of that. With SEFT, Society for Education in Film and Television, and Manuel Alvarado and his mob in London, they were working with disadvantaged black women. The British University's Film and Video Council, working with the disadvantaged working class, poor documenting working class history. We picked up a lot of ideas from these people, which did filter into our courses. One of the inspired things, I think, was Night Access. CalArts, Sandy McKendrick, California Institute of the Arts. He had it, but he was paid staff to run it. He was lucky. Disney money. Polytechnic of Central London introduced this, the sort of balance we had between theory and practice. And as Stephen says, we could wiggle. The secret of evolution is that evolutionary survival doesn't go to the strongest, it goes to the ones who can evolve. And we can evolve. Stephen's entry, I think, is quite insightful. Okay, you want more of this? Yep, we'll change the name of something. We've got more of that. You want this sort of change of balance? Yep, we'll just change the name. There it is. And we managed to get away with that for years. Greens and Harry spent time working in England. Got to know a lot of people, became very well known and respected. Doug Stewart went to the States. I was in Stockwell College the day they were told, I was having lunch in the staff room the day when they were told they were being closed down. Now, that had a bit of an influence, because what happened there was inevitably going to happen here. Next day, a few of us met in a pub, and we plotted, how do you prepare for this? What can go wrong? Who's handling it? It's going to happen to all of us. What strategies can we have up our sleeves? So from that moment on, most of my planning was to cope with the fact that things were going to change. Money was going to change. We were going to be attacked by the universities. Well, here we got attacked first by the Australian Film, Television, Radio and Basket Weaving School. They tried to steal courses from us, but they tried to steal the funding. We teach the course, they get the funding. Great idea. They almost got away with that. We lost the one with Film Victoria. We did a lot of sponsored production. Film Victoria put one over us there. We didn't see it coming. We were forbidden to make any work from any government-funded organisations. We missed out on that one, but we had a lot of wriggle room. So evolution favours the adaptable. So what do? You just find out everything there is to know about everything. You learn your opponent's case. You learn to argue his case better than our argument. Most of the arguments I ever got into, and John Ellis was the same, we'd get into an argument, and I'll bet you, we could argue the other one, our opponent's case better than he could. That was our job. We knew what they were going to say. We knew all the arguments they had available, and we could counter every one of them. But we also let them walk away thinking they won. That's very important. Get away thinking they won. But when the staff cuts came at Rusden, we did not, the media did not lose a single staff member. And if I'm proud of nothing else, I'm proud of that. We were the only department not to lose a single staff member. And we were adaptable when we came to the amalgamation of Victoria College. But the big tragedy with Victoria College was that Rusden lost its identity. It was whitewashed out of history. The provenance went, no history, no provenance. And suddenly, all these people all around the world that we were meeting and knew about us, that rang us, if there was somebody in Melbourne, they'd come and see us. If we were going to the UK, they'd take us to see them. Who's this new one? We got back, but gee, it took a long time. And I think that's the biggest tragedy. we've lost that provenance that was there. Hard to regain it, but at least one thing about the Victoria College amalgamation, the people involved in it, it was the politicians who were the problem, not our colleagues in the other places. We were dealing with generally honest, honourable people. Yep, we had to adapt to each other's ways. There were accountants who thought they should control the money. Silly thought. There were managers who thought that they should manage us. But that was all solved eventually. They were honest people. Then along came the Deakin business, and the Deakin amalgamation was only accepted by the Victoria College Council on the understanding that the Vice-Chancellor with whom we were negotiating was going to be the Vice-Chancellor. And if it had been known that John Hay was going to become, that the man was going to leave and John Hay was going to become Vice-Chancellor, Deakin would not have been, Rusden would not have become involved. VIC, Victoria College, would not have taken on that amalgamation. It's as bad as that. There really were some, they're fantastic people, but there was also Brian Turner. He was the most unmitigated, villainous bastard I've ever met. I think he was probably bordering on the edge of insanity. These are only opinions. So, nothing language about this. I'm just giving you my opinion. But the history, I think it's in the history, that Yoni was at a meeting. Yoni was at a meeting where the Dean was going to... Oh, no, let me go back earlier. Where a unit was put up for accreditation. And it was a unit in media, being put up by Geelong Sociology. The same as a buddy unit we had. Here's a Dean who wants to get rid of us, introduce police studies of all things instead. There's a woman trying to put up for accreditation. Now, Greeners, he's a nice bloke, he's quiet. He simply argued fairly forcefully that there was no business. Their sociology putting up here the same as ours. It was only later we found out it was the Dean's wife who put it up for accreditation. I suspect we were never forgiven for that. I suspect that part of the reason that the Dean loathed us was that he went home that night. And what does pussy mean for a Judy? I don't know what I use, but I think the Dean went home that night and was seriously chastised for failing to adequately espouse his wife's cause. But he never forgave us. But another meeting, later on, Johnny was there, and this was the one that was described in the book, where the students almost blockaded the place. People had to get into the meeting. The Dean expected roll, drama, dance, language, literature, media, whatever it was called. No, what I was called visual performing media arts by then. Kept changing the name. The Dean was expected to get away with it. He was rolled in the meeting. Now, the way he was rolled, of course, was that this was after I left. I was, I believe, one little present behind. I thought to myself that the Dean is a very nasty little man, and he's evil, he's corrupt. We could always tell though when he was lying. His mouth opened and shut, and words came out. If that was happening, we knew he was lying. So I decided to build up a dossier, and it occurred to me that at the back of all this, he had his Peter Credlin, which was called Barbara Yee. You know, to many of you, but she was the brains. She was the brains. She was the one who loaded the bullets. She was the one who decided what the attitude was to be. Because she'd done her duty at Rusden. We discovered. She'd been extremely happy and unhappy at Rusden. We discovered. She loathed Rusden because she'd been unhappy there. We discovered. She was a misfit at Rusden. And she coloured the Dean, she fed the Dean a lot of misinformation, in my opinion, about Rusden. She drove his personal antipathy, and there were a couple of pretty awkward people to get on with at Geelong in art. They were brilliant people, but they were pretty awkward to get on with. Same was true at Watermill. But she drove a personal activity, the brilliant, drove it into personal activity. It's a professional activity. And anyway, it was pretty ridiculous. But I managed to remember all these and write them down. I wrote down the date and the times at which the Dean had agreed to come and visit us at Rusden and had not appeared. I kept a record of the times I had tried to get to see the Dean and he had refused to see me. I kept a record of the meetings where somehow or other there was a meeting didn't get to me. And I just gave these to a few friends. I knew a few people on the academic board at Geelong. I knew a few people on the council at Geelong. I knew a few people in senior administration. And load of the time on, they had that information and would use it necessarily.
So it's been really great to hear you talk. I really loved your talk, but actually good to hear from your perspectives.
Thank you.
The majority of us are here today because of the period in which, in each of our respective lives, that shaped us in differing but very significant ways during what was for some of us the most formative years of our lives as young adults. Judith has put in solid form an investigation of why this was so and how it came about. I have never assumed that all Rusden dance students have the same experience, wonderful, intense and transformative as I did, but I suspect a lot of them did. There really was something unique and very special in the particular mix of students, staff, resources, plus artistic and educational ideas. It humbles me that exactly 30 years ago, after graduating in 1984, I, as alumni, former staff and head of dance, am the one that stands here to represent Rusden Dance. I also speak on behalf of Shirley McKechnie, OAM, and Honorary Fellow of the Australian Academy of the Humanities, as she is unable to be here. Many of us just call her Dame Shirley. I hope I also, in some small way, speak for the late Hilary Clayton as well. Shirley's really thrilled that Judith took on this project and it has come to fruition. Shirley accepted a one-year contract as a sessional staff member in the drama department in the early 1970s, rather than a full-time and ongoing contract with the Frankston Teachers College. I think I can say fairly safely, on behalf of the generation of Rusden dance teaching graduates, thank goodness she did. Dance was the last kid on the block in the media, drama and dance story at Rusden. One of Shirley's primary aims was to get dance into the academic and research land of tertiary study. She wanted dance to be respected as equal to and recognised alongside all the other arts. In her words, as valued and prioritised as literature, music and the visual arts had been since the Middle Ages. This way of thinking, this fortitude, was the stuff that dance students at Rusden from 1975 onwards had as their example. Shirley understood the value and critical importance of a bachelor degree for dance and dance teachers. She knew that if the art form was to flourish, there had to be well-trained teachers out there with real experience of the art form grounded in immersion in the creative and the choreographic, the craft. Plans and accreditation for other tertiary dance courses in Australia were well underway, but the Rusden Dance course was the first bachelor degree program in Australia. 4 years of practice-based laboratory and applied theory. I feel a little smug and very happy to say that as a current dance lecturer at the Victorian College of Arts, I work alongside 6 other Rusden dance alumni and 2 other former Rusden dance staff. Would not have happened 30 years ago. As Rusden alumni herself, this story, this quest was and is personal to Judith. She owns this in her introduction and outlines in her own way the interesting balance this posed for her with subjectivity and the historian's need for objectivity. This is reflected in the differing ways the 3 areas of drama, media and dance are covered in her book. My second major at Rusden was history, not media or drama. I quickly learnt back then that the telling of history is selective, and therefore the authors of histories need to select. This often excludes, but in the case of The Making of Us, Judith's approach of including many voices and weaving together layers and aspects of the many narratives that the Rusden story is, succeeds in creating multiple ways that we can relate to the content. She gives us a range of ways in, and if I, as the reader, am typical, we are drawn into our memories and a sense of what we were a part of. The Making of Us is a tapestry of glimpses into particular staff and student experiences placed well in researched political and demographic context. The dance courses at Burwood Deakin continue to be a place of significant innovation, teacher training and education, and provide a stimulating environment for emerging artists. Some of the staff that had to straddle and survive the move from Clayton to Burwood are still there. On more than one occasion, I have heard Dame Shirley say that in the future she can imagine politicians and those in education policy say, whatever happened to those nice little colleges? Weren't they a good idea? I have often thought about the cyclic nature of some aspects of history. I mentioned this and Shirley's comment to Judith. Judith, perhaps a little sadly, or perhaps just with a dose of pragmatic reality, commented that she didn't think that government policy was likely to recreate those nice little colleges again. So to Judith, thank you for your book. It is an act of love. Sad, as it is to know that the campus that overlooked the CSIRO sheep ain't there no more. But your writing demonstrates that as wonderful as many of us found Rusden, the particular blend of factors that it was couldn't last or exist forever. You illustrate that this was perhaps inevitable once the deficit of teachers of the 1960s became a surplus in the eyes of those in power, and due also to the political rationalisation of the tertiary sector. This book helps me understand and reflect on why Rusden was unique in many ways. There are many threads linked together in this writing, and maybe others will be inspired to pick up some of those threads and research, develop and record them further. Thank you, Judith.
I reckon a short show is a good show. And I found the last reunion pretty overwhelming, and I found this event really very moving too, because there's so many people here who taught me, or alongside me, or who studied with me, or who I've taught, because I've spent 30 of my 55 years as a student or a teacher or both. And thank you for the very helpful suggestions about the last sentence of my thesis. On Facebook.
You asked for it.
What's been beautiful about, one of the things that's been beautiful about this book and this event is that it's summoned some people whose absence I really feel. I'm so thrilled that Kate Catchlove and Alice Catchlove are here. Because I never met anyone who didn't love Ian. I really miss Bob, Holden and Cliff Hadley and Laura. love that they're remembered in this book and they're sort of fixed in all of those stories, both in the body of the book but also in all those individual memories. The last line of Judith's account sounded, well, obviously it sounded like a line from the book of Genesis, I got that. But it's sort of, I was starting to hear violins. I was listening, is someone going to start singing something from Camelot here? Once upon a time there was a place called Rusden. That was truly unique and we shall not see its like again. Because it grew in an era when the arts were suddenly on the public agenda as a way of thinking about who we were and what mattered to us. They were a voice, a real voice, for questioning and protest, and we were allowed suddenly a certain sort of pleasure. And that sort of permission that Max was talking about allows so many artists who really have rewritten the rule books in this country for theatre, dance and film in the last 5 decades. Yep, that's 50 years. It was and remains one of the very few places in Australia where creative arts disciplines sit next to each other and students are encouraged to play in and between them. And this produces really amazing work and amazing people. We were interdisciplinary and multimedia before it was fashionable and before the Australia Council got itself together to create Peter Epperson and I, and Peter's now a professor in New York, wrote a paper about the sort of DIY ethos that Simon Palmieri's made a really great contribution to. About how robust that ethos was at Rusden, that old, you know, let's put a show on in the barn thing that defined place. And I think about how lucky we were to be taught by artists and teachers, and they were all both, who were at the top of their game on the whole. And I feel like this book has been written in that same spirit. And Judith's amazing dedication and tenacity is a real reflection of that Rusden ethos, the sort of Buckrich, let's just do it attitude that just gets things to happen. And it's an amazing achievement by any measure, and it's an amazing gift to all of us. In pure self-interest, look, I wrote this bit because I thought my boss was going to be here tomorrow. Anyway, I'm going to say it. I should say that the beat goes on at Deakin. There's a lot of focus on this on people who made careers as artists, but Rusden always also produced so many damn fine teachers that instilled a love of arts in countless generations of students. And I say to those teachers, send them back to us. If they want to make stuff, send them to us. Because despite resources dwindling, I think we still have the same maverick attitude, and we still encourage students to make their own work and play across those boundaries and get those shows up in the barn and have those same crazy Rusden dreams about remaking the world.
Memory lane, and as we come to the conclusion of the formalities for today, I think we've spoken enough. I did want to say that I did do dance for 1 term, and Shirley, we did Darcy Lorca's blood wedding, and we had to do this around the moon, and I did too. And she just couldn't get, she kept my elbow, just wouldn't do the proper curvy thing. And she said, oh, well, you haven't got a dancer's body, I'm sorry. And I was just like, that's fine. Because I was really nervous about dancing. And my fondest memory of doing media, because I can't draw, but was the media camps. And I remember I'd been for the whole weekend. I was such a shy thing. I'd come out of high school, I barely talked to anyone at the camp, and I just watched films, and I sat in the bus coming home next to Stephen Kearney. And he said, and what's your name? And I said, I'm Carmel, and yeah, I'm doing drama, and I haven't really made any friends yet. He went, well, I'll be your friend. And that sort of broke me. So the media gave me my first friend. Real friend, another Libran, so. But anyway, look, I think, first of all, you should all give yourselves a big round of applause for being here today, for participating. To all the people who've helped put the event together. Big round of applause once more to Judith. Please buy a book. Please go out, tell each other stories. Is there going to be a slide presentation? No. There's going to be a little presentation, but then stick around, have a drink, reconnect, network, all that sort of stuff. All the very best. Thank you.
I'm just going to start. Yeah.